Welcome back, guys. So in this particular session, what we will be discussing about is player 2. Okay, so this is from SPR's exam kit, question number 27A. Okay, so what we've been given is that player 2 is a public limited company, operates a number of retail stores that sells computers and video games. Okay, so it's in electronics, operates a number of retail stores, okay, video games and computers. It prepares financial statement in accordance with IFRS. In its financial statement disclosures notes for the year ended 31st December 20x1, it has reported an alternative performance measure, APM, adjusted EPS. Okay, the APM does not feature on the face of its statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. The following is an extract from its financial statement disclosures. So profit after tax is this much, and then after that what it has done is it has added the adjusting item, right? And what does this adjusting item comprise of? Okay, it's given down below. So okay, so after that they have added this to, this is their adjusted profit, and shares outstanding is this adjusted EPS. Okay, so this divided by this is this, right? So player 2 discloses two similar information for the prior period. Okay, so they have a comparability kind of thing. The disclosure note states that adjusting items comprise 6.8 million amortization charge in relation to acquired brand and intangible assets. So it was in 20x0 as well, earlier year as well. So it's not a really a non-recurring item, right? It has reduced, and then this is amortization charge in relation to brands and intangible assets. Okay, so and then there is 1.4 million restructuring cost is also there. Earlier it was 0.9 million, right? So 9 and this will be 8 and then 1, so 7.8 million in the earlier year adjusting items. Okay, and then 2.1 million impairment charge related to retail stores. Okay, impairment has occurred, right? So what are we required to justify? So discuss with reference to player 2 disclosure of adjusted EPS and the benefits and limitations of APMs for the primary users of financial statements. With reference to player 2 disclosure of adjusted EPS, the benefit and limitation. Number A, right? Okay, let's do it. This is additional performance measures, right? APM, additional performance measures. So IS1, presentation of financial statement permits entities to disclose additional information that is relevant to understanding an entity's performance and position. Okay, the conceptual framework notes that primary users of financial statements are investors, other lenders, or you could say investors, potential and existing, you could say that, or you could say lenders and other creditors. After that, additional performance measures, which is basically APM, are often used internally when assessing management performance. As such, they can help financial statement users to understand management's view about what is important to the entity. However, there are concerns about the use of APMs. What are the concerns? It is commonly argued that APMs are used by management to disguise weak financial performance, which may mislead financial statement users. Criticism might apply to player 2 for this entity as well, right? Why is that? It is because basic earnings per share EPS is how much is it? Is dollar, what's the profit? 2.5 divided by 122.2, right? 2.5 million, 122.2 million. So this should give us 2.5 divided by 2.5 divided by 122.2, 0.02. Okay, so that means 0. What we could say is 2 cent as well, right? 2.0 cents per share. Whereas adjusted basic EPS is more than 5 times higher APMs can be particularly misleading if displayed prominently This is because they may be indistinguishable from figures produced in accordance with IFRS standards and therefore obtains unwarranted credibility. Right? People might believe it, although player 2 does not disclose the APM, put this APM on the face of the primary statements the ordering of disclosures notes is more important, and the disclosure may still mislead investors as to its nature. Performance measures that use figures prepared in accordance with IFRS standards are more likely to be comparable with other entities. Entities may differ markedly in calculating APMs. For example, types of adjustments made by player 2, in calculating the adjusted basic EPS may differ from those used by other entities, hindering comparability. One company's APM may also not be comparable year on year. some entities do not reconcile their APMs back to the financial statement. However, this criticism does not apply to Layer 2. As such, it is possible to assess the adequacy and reasonableness of the adjusting items, right? Some users may question the appropriateness of the profits adjustment that Layer 2 has made to arrive at adjusted basic EPS. And what could that be? Although amortisation is a judgmental non-cash expense, the business may need to replace its intangible assets at some point, right? This will require investment. Moreover, amortization of brands should reflect their pattern of use. Pattern of use, right? If brands have a definite useful life in the business, will need to incur costs in order to protect its brand positioning and market share, right? What else should we talk about? The next thing is restructuring cost. Okay. Are incurred in both the current and prior period So we are not a one-off costs, excluding these amounts from underlying basic EPS ignores the fact that restructuring is a regular part of layer 2's business. Right? They have been occurring every time. Next is impairment charge, isn't it? Impairment charge relating to stores, right? The existence of impairment charges suggest that the retail stores have performed poorly and are underutilized. It also suggests a poor outlook for the business in terms of future in terms of its future. Okay, have performed in terms of its suggests that poor outlook for the business in terms of its future cash flows, cash inflows, net cash inflows. Eliminating this impairment charge when calculating adjusted basic EPS could be argued to provide an over-optimistic representation, right? Eliminating it, representation of layer 2's current and future performance, right? So why are they saying that is because, see, when you have impairment, it's basically like the recoverable amount is like basically, so suppose if you are using value in use, right? So that means your cash flow is less, right? In the future, that's what impairment basically indicates. So that means if we are eliminating this impairment charge when calculating the basic EPS, then it will give very optimistic future, okay? So which might not be the case. So as part of the principles of disclosure project, the International Accounting Standard Board is proposing to offer guidance on the calculation and preparation of APMs. This should help alleviate some of the concerns expressed by the financial statement users. Alright. So next part of this question is about RAP, right? Okay, we can cancel this out. So what does it say? So RAP is a public limited company that operates in the media industry. The industry is currently experiencing little economic growth. Okay, little economic growth. RAP's market capitalization is less than its net assets per share. You know what's market cap, right? Number of shares in the market price. And then in accordance with IAS 36 impairment of assets, RAP has carried out various impairment reviews. Okay. Cash generating D, Unit D, a magazine publishing business to which goodwill has been allocated. Okay. To which goodwill has been allocated, was tested for impairment and was deemed not to be impaired. Okay. Has produced a following disclosure note for inclusion in the financial statement. So the recovery amount of cash generating unit D has been determined as its value in use. Okay, value in use used. Why not fair value less cost to sell? So since it is using value in use, so that will be entity specific, right? The calculation of value in use was based on cash flow projection that were approved by management. Yep. The average discount rate used by RAP during the year was discount rate is 10%. Future cash flows of unit D beyond the budgeted period were extrapolated using an 8% growth rate. Okay. Beyond the budgeted period, right? So how many was the budgeted period? Does it say anything about that? No. So when we are making anything beyond the budgeted period or longer time, we assume zero growth rate or a constant rate, right? So management believes that any reasonable possible change in the key assumptions on D's recoverable amount is based would not cause D's carrying amount to exceed his recoverable amount. Believes that any reasonable possible change in key assumptions, okay, any change in the possible assumptions would not still cause carrying amount to exceed its recoverable amount. So professional marks will be awarded for clarity and quality of presentation. Discuss why the information contained in the disclosure may be limited use. Okay, it does not say anything about what was the assumptions that they have used, right? And it does not also talk about the CGU. It does not give much detail, right? Okay, let's talk about that. So it's about impairment disclosures. Impairment reviews involve judgment, right? And therefore, the users of financial statement must be provided with adequate information to assess whether the assumptions used were reliable. Used, right? So since the statement has already been published, so disclosure note is lacking key information about many of the judgments used. It is very generic and does not provide information that is specific to RAP's impairment review, right? Sort of copy paste kind of thing. So let's talk about CGU first of all, cash generating unit. No information has been provided about how the cash generating unit was determined, right? And what else they have not given in case of cash generating unit? So they have just said that goodwill was allocated, right? So they have not told us how. On what proportion, that is also not told, right? No information has been provided about how the goodwill was allocated to cash generating unit. Isn't that the case? The average discount rate cash was approximately to which goodwill was being allocated was deemed not impaired. Okay. Does not say on what basis. Okay. So let us talk about the value in use. Disclosures talk about assumption first of all, does not describe key assumptions factored into the cash flow forecasts, and therefore the users cannot assess its reliability. Important assumptions might indicate important assumptions might include estimates of future margins, or if relevant, foreign currency movement, if it has a foreign operation. Okay, that is the case. The disclosure does not say whether the forecast represents past experience, what has been the past deviances, right, or future expectation. does not say about that as well. It also does not state whether there is any consistency with external source of information. The disclosure note does not say how many years the cash flow covered. This is important because the longer the forecast, the longer the forecast, the lesser its reliability, right? And does not say that as well. And then after that, okay, so budgeted period and how much was the extrapolated time also it does not say, right? Does not say how many years worth of cash flows have been extrapolated beyond the end of budgeted period, right? The longer this period, the less likely it is that the growth rate will be maintained, right? Due to obsolescence, issues, or the entrance of new competitor into the market, right? What else? The disclosure note does not justify the rate of growth used to extrapolate cash flows beyond the period covered by the cash flow forecasts. So the rate is not justified, right? The 8%, why was it 8% used? This is because this is important because the growth rate used seems unrealistically high, particularly when compared to the current economic climate. Right? Little economic growth, right? The industry itself is growing little, and the sluggish performance of the industry within which RAP operates. The disclosure does not state whether the growth rate used is specific to unit D. It could happen to unit D, but it does not specify. Growth could therefore be over or understated, right? RAP disclosed an average discount rate. They should instead disclose the specific rate used to discount the cash flows of unit D so that users can assess whether it appears reasonable. The discount rate used should reflect time value of money and risks specific to the CZUs for which future cash flow have not been adjusted. Future cash flow estimates have not been adjusted, right? Anything else? What about sensitivity analysis? Since its market value is less, right, isn't it? Yeah. Net assets is lower than its market cap. Okay. Sensitivity. Market capitalization of is below its net assets value, suggesting that the market is expecting impairment in value. This would contradict disclosure, which says that a reasonable possible change. Reasonable possible change. Would not cause impairment. Sensitivity analysis would therefore be of use to the users, so that they assess the likelihood and impact of potential future impairments. Okay, I think this should be enough. How much marks is it again? 8, 7, 10 marks, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, should be good. So this is how we basically solve this problem. So if you have any questions until now, please do comment down below. I'll definitely answer it for you. So next on, what we will be looking at is Jack, question number 28. Okay, so yeah, if you have any confusions, please do comment down below. I'll definitely answer it for you. Feel free to ask anything about SPR. So I'll be looking forward for your comments. Until next time, bye bye.